Welcome to Aircraft Insurance Unlocked, and today I talk about the process of getting an aircraft insurance policy from start to finish. And along the way, I'm going to give out some tips and share a few stories that I think all aircraft owners will get a lot of value out of. We help over 9,000 aircraft owners get insurance, and it's our mission to build the best aviation insurance agency on planet Earth. So let's jump right in. The process of getting aircraft insurance starts when you've made the decision to buy your very first airplane, or if you're already an aircraft owner and you're ready to buy a new airplane, which happens all the time. Very quickly, as you start to narrow down to 2 or 3 different aircraft makes and models, you will want to begin to get a basic idea of what insurance will cost and what will the pilot training requirements be. You can Google insurance costs for different aircraft makes and models, but these usually won't explain pilot training requirements, and they're very generic. So I recommend getting in touch with an aircraft insurance broker at this point. You do not want to use your current auto or homeowner's insurance company or a general do-everything insurance agent. You want to use an insurance broker who specializes only in aviation insurance. And here's why. Insuring airplanes is not like getting car insurance at all. Airplanes are all unique. Your use of the aircraft may be different, and you really want someone who works with all kinds of different airplanes and aviation insurance companies and their underwriters all day long. It actually doesn't cost any more money to use an aviation specialist insurance agent, like we don't charge an extra premium, but it could actually cost you a lot more if you use a generalist agent and they don't have all the aviation insurance markets. In the worst case, the non-aviation insurance agent insures your aircraft incorrectly, and when you do have an accident, there's no coverage. That's not a position I want you or anyone to be in. So, find yourself an aviation insurance specialty agent that you can trust and love. And when you get in touch with them, let them know that you're shopping around for an aircraft and you're just looking for a tire kicker so you can estimate how much the insurance is going to cost on the few aircraft that you've narrowed down and what are the pilot training requirements, if there are any. You're usually not looking for a full quote at this point, just a tire kicker or an indication of the insurance cost for a few specific aircraft makes and models and whole values with your pilot information and an indication of pilot training requirements. Most brokers can get you this information in a few minutes just by searching their database for similar aircraft, whole values, pilot qualifications, and some elite agents, if they've been doing this for 10 or 20 years, will know off the top of the head for most aircraft what is the insurance cost and what are the training requirements. So after this, the next step in getting aircraft insurance usually happens when you've found an aircraft and you're ready to make an offer. Once you're at this point, you need to start getting full aircraft insurance quotes from your agent, and this usually requires a 5 or 10 minute conversation where you go through all the details they need to get you a full quote. Here's another pro tip. You really don't want more than one aircraft insurance agent shopping for quotes. You really should find one that you trust, an insurance agent you love, and let them shop the market for you. Getting more than one agent involved, the way that the aircraft insurance market works, can cause chaos and even hurt your chances of getting the best rate. I made a video about this called How to Shop for Aircraft Insurance the Right Way. It's on YouTube under my channel, BWI Fly Live, if you are interested in learning more. So, here are the things that your agent will ask to get you a full aircraft insurance quote. Most important is the tail number of the aircraft. They want to verify year, make, and model. What airport or private strip will the aircraft be based at? Will it be tied or hangared? Is it in a hurricane zone? What gear type does the aircraft have? Will it ever be on skis or floats? If floats, what is the make and model of the float? Moving on to named pilots. Most policies will require at least one pilot to be named on the policy, and ideally, we want a full pilot history form completed for each pilot. License, hours, ratings, any claims, accidents, time in similar aircraft, and recent pilot training. The more questions the agent asks you about the aircraft and your pilot history, the better. You want them to fully understand every detail, which gives them a lot of information to present your story to the underwriter so you can get the best quote possible. The last thing you're going to want to go over with your agent are the coverages on the policies. Most single-engine land piston aircraft insurance policies have standard liability limits, $1 million limited to $100,000 per passenger. These liabilities can increase for more complex aircraft and more qualified pilots, but these are the standard limits. So if you request a quote with $300,000 in whole coverage and you get a quote from an insurance company, they are agreeing with you that the aircraft is worth that amount. And in the event of a total loss, you will get a check for that exact amount less any deductibles. If you are financing the aircraft purchase, you will need to have the full purchase amount of the aircraft as the insured value on the insurance policy. After you have this phone call and you provide them all the info, depending on the aircraft type, situation, it can take anywhere from 2 minutes to 2 to 3 days to get an actual quote back from the underwriters. If you're buying a Cessna 182 and you're a private pilot with hundreds of hours, we can have a great quote in like 2 to 3 minutes. If you're a student pilot transitioning into a $1 million Cirrus SR22, it might take a few days to get a quote back. So here's what happens on the agent side. Once they get all your info, they build a shopping strategy on which specific insurance companies or underwriters they want to send your information to for a quote. This is usually based off their experience in aviation insurance, so the more experience they have, the better, and the faster they will be able to come up with a shopping strategy. Each aviation insurance company, and there's only around 20 of them, have a unique appetite. So some companies might specialize in writing seaplanes, other companies prefer to write transition pilots, and some will only want pilots with IFR ratings, for example. So knowing all the intricacies of each insurance company's appetite and how that corresponds to your aircraft make and model and pilot qualifications is the juice. This is where that level of experience in the industry and even an agent's reputation in the industry comes into play. And this is also where a lot of aircraft owners get frustrated when they get different quotes from different brokers for the same aircraft. Once your broker has a shopping strategy, they start shopping around. If they're quoting a Cessna 182, they might shop the entire market. If it's a transition pilot or a student pilot buying a new Cirrus, there's only like 3 or 4 insurance companies that really want to write that type of risk. So they're going to put together a quote request form with all your info on it and any extra pilot training or notes and send that out to the underwriters for a quote. So here's a couple more tips. If you're buying a well-known aircraft and you are a qualified pilot, in most cases you should have a quote very quickly, within a few hours. The more complex the aircraft is, the higher the whole value liability limits and the lower pilot qualifications that you have, or if there's any other issues, such as claims on your record, the longer it might take to get back a quote, as your agent goes back and forth with each individual underwriter. Back in 2018, I developed and I have a patent on an online quoting software called iFlightQuote. We use this software exclusively at BWI to submit our customers' information to all the insurance companies super fast and accurate. And many times we can shop the entire market and have a quote back to you in minutes. But again, this doesn't apply to more complex aircraft or pilot situations. Another tip, again, if you give all your info to one broker and you have them start shopping the market, then you go and call another broker or a third broker and you give them their info and they start shopping the market, it's going to create some chaos. And now underwriters that are looking to work up a quote for you get sent your same information from other brokers, they get overwhelmed, and they may get turned off from offering a quote. It's always best to find a talented broker you trust, you love them, and you stick with one agent, but make sure they shop the entire market for you. Once your agent gets quotes back from the underwriters, they will usually set up a call with you to discuss. In this call, they are presenting different quotes with different prices, different insurance companies and deductibles, and so on. One of the most important things that gets missed a lot is reviewing the pilot training requirements of each different quote. Some quotes might be the cheapest but require 20 hours of dual instruction, whereas other companies might be a little bit more expensive but they only require a CFI checkout. This is where it's not always about price, it's also about pilot training requirements. What are the insurance companies' reputations for paying claims? What are the deductibles? The open pilot warranty? You really want to look at the full picture of each quote before you make a final decision. Now that you have a full quote, you can do the pre-buy and you are ready to activate insurance coverage. When should you activate insurance coverage? As soon as you sign the bill of sale and become the owner of a beautiful new airplane, that's the exact point you will want to activate the aircraft insurance policy. Keep in mind, an aircraft insurance policy is designed primarily to protect the aircraft owner from the liability risk of owning an aircraft. On the agent side, for us to start coverage, we require a signed application which confirms the aircraft and pilot details you provided us to get a quote. We also require payment, and once we have both, a signed app and payment, and you've given us a policy start date, we will notify the insurance company, the underwriter, to start the insurance policy effective that date. At BWI, we have an extra verification step called the bind review process. Each agent has to verify a few key points of information between the quote and our system before they can request to bind coverage. We do this to make sure everything lines up and we insure your aircraft correctly. After this, the agent sends in the bind request and the insurance company will send us back a confirmation that the policy is in force, and then we will send you a document showing proof of coverage, usually a confirmation of insurance page. After coverage is in place, there's still a few last items to do. First, the underwriter will review your application just to make sure everything lines up with what we sent over on the initial quote request. If there are any issues, they'll let us know right away and we will be in touch with you immediately. Second, depending on the insurance company, they will issue a full insurance policy. This can be instant or it can take up to a month. It all depends on which insurance company the policy is written with. As soon as we get a copy of the insurance policy, we have a separate process called the policy review process at BWI, where one of our administrative team reviews key details of your policy and compares it with the insurance quote and with our CRM, our database, to make sure everything's perfect. This is another extra verification step that we do at BWI to make sure that your policy is absolutely flawless. We will then send the full policy over to you for your records. And that's it. That's the full aircraft insurance process from start to finish. I want to thank you all for trusting me and the team at BWI, and fly safe.